Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished guests, professors, and colleagues. My name is Ade Wahyudin from University of Indonesia. Today, I'm honored to present our study entitled Spectrum Strategies for 5G Development in Remote and Underserved Region in Indonesia. Okay, let's start with my presentation. This is the first slide of my presentation. The title of the paper is Spectrum Strategies for 5G Development in Remote and Underserved Region of Indonesia, a systematic review of global and local practice. This work is part of my doctoral research, supported by the Indonesia Endowment Fund and Education, or LPDP. I would also like to acknowledge the guidance of Professor Dr. Muhammad Negara as my doctoral supervisor and my research collaborator, Dr. Alvin Imatur Rahman from Dhaka University, Purwokerto. The table of content of this presentation start from background, research objective and question, research methodology, bibliometric findings, discussion, and conclusion. Okay, let's start to the background and the motivation of this research. As we know, 5G is more than just faster internet. It provides high-speed data transfer, low latency, ultra-low latency, and massive connectivity that can transform industries such as manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, and even education. However, the global digital divide remains a major challenge. According to ITU, while 84% of people in high-income countries are covered by 5G, in low-income countries, they figure only just 4% of the coverage. In Indonesia, the similar situation, it's happened. Major city, they have 5G development so rapidly, while remote and underserved region is lag far behind, often due to the high development cost, challenging geography, and limited business viability. Given this background, our study aims to address two main research questions. The first research question is what global spectrum strategies and allocation models are most adaptable for supporting 5G in remote and underserved area of Indonesia. The second of the research question is what regulatory and technical challenge hinder inclusive 5G spectrum policy in Indonesia, and how do they compare with global practice? Our goal is not only to identify gaps, but to offer practical policy recommendation for bridging the digital divide. To answer this question, we employ a systematic literature review, or SLR, using the PRISMA framework. We collected publication from reputable database such as Scopus, IEEE Explorer, and Google Scholar from the years of 2015 to 2025, applying strict screening criteria to ensure quality and relevance. Our analysis included included descriptive statistics, bibliography mapping with cost viewer, and qualitative thematic coding to capture both global trends and national policy context. And then, as we can see in the right of the slide, our initial research identified 1,466 records. After removing duplicates and applying screening criteria, we assessed 184 full-text articles, and finally, 63 studies were included in our review. The publication trends topics interest in 2021, likely coinciding with global momentum for 5G rollout, followed by a sign decline as research attention shift towards 6G and post 5G technology. And then this is the bibliometric findings. The co-occurrence network visualization created by host viewers shows a clear thematic structure in 5G development and spectrum strategy research, especially in rural, remote, and underserved areas. As seen in this figure, three main cluster image. The first cluster is technological development and research challenge, include keywords like technology, 5G technology, challenge, and research. It highlights study focus on the technical aspect of 5G and how different countries approach implementation issue. The second cluster, the second cluster is the infrastructure and digital inclusion contain terms such as rural area, digital divide, infrastructure, strategy, and user. This theme focused on the ICT for development connectivity access and effort to close the digital gap through user-oriented design and inclusive policy approach. The third cluster is spectrum policy and regulation, feature keyword like frequency, gigahertz, megahertz, and regulation. It represents research on spectrum allocation, regulatory challenge, and frequency suitability for 5G, with a strong emphasis on fair and effectiveness global governance. The effective of spectrum governance. Next, we jump to the results of the main result of the research. It's about the first is about the spectrum band comparison. As we see in this table, we can see the many spectrum band can be potential spectrum band for 5G in the rural, remote, or underserved areas. Yeah. Ensure, Ensuring equitability 5G access in remote and underserved region depends heavily on the selection of the appropriate frequency spectrum, as it influences coverage range, infrastructure demands, and the implementation feasibility. Low band frequencies such as 700 MHz, 800 MHz, and 900 MHz are widely recognized as ideal for remote and underserved region development due to their extensive coverage and strong signal penetration through physical obstruction like vegetation and buildings. This ban also allows the reuse of existing LTE infrastructure, making them cost-effective and accelerating network rollout. As a result, many countries, including Indonesia, have adopted refarming strategy that repurpose 2G or 3G band for 5G. And then mid-band spectrum, such as 3.3 to 3.8 gigahertz and 3.5 gigahertz, offer a balance between coverage and capacity, making it suitable for this densely populated rural, remote, and underserved region. Although it requires denser infrastructure and stable backhaul, its ability to support high data throughput, especially when combined with technology like massive MIMO and network slicing, have driven its global adaptation. And then in high band or millimeter wave spectrum, such as 26 gigahertz or 20x gigahertz, provide high capacity but limited range and significant infrastructure requirement, making it less viable for remote and underserved region unless supported by subsidies or community initiatives. Alternative bands such as PHS or QBSO promise for wide area or satellite-based application, but needs further evaluation in remote and underserved region context. And then in the spectrum strategy comparison, as we can see in here, there are so many strategy types that can be used for implementation of 5G in rural or in remote or underserved area. Globally, various spectrum allocation strategies have been adopted to support 5G development in rural, remote, and underserved area by aligning with local geography, demographic, and infrastructure conditions. One widely used approach is dynamic spectrum access of DSA, which allows unused spectrum held by primary licenses to be dynamically accessed by secondary user. This is particularly suitable in rural area with low traffic intensity through it requires regularity support, geolocation database, and cognitive radio technology. The challenge includes the potential interference and limited adoption by regulatory bodies. In addition, license shared access to LSA and TV white space atau TVWS strategy have proven effective in countries like Brazil or some parts in Africa. This approach enables shared use of lower frequency band, extending coverage of infrastructure in poor areas without requiring significant investment. Another widely adopted strategy in low spectrum refarming, is low band spectrum refarming, where legacy bands such as 700 megahertz and 800 megahertz are repurposed from 2G or 3G to 5G. This method offers broad coverage and compatibility with existing infrastructure through it involves complex coordination and migration process. And then conversely, the use of millimeter wave spectrum is considered less practical for rural, remote, and underserved areas due to limited range and high infrastructure costs. As a result, most countries adopt a hybrid approach, combining the spectrum sharing, refarming, and the policy incentive to enhance the viability of remote and uh, the viability of remote and underserved region 5G investment. Overall, global strategies emphasize flexibility, cost efficiency, and inclusive policy framework in spectrum utilization for remote and underserved region of 5G. And then the next slide is about the policy comparison. The policy comparison. Indonesia has elected to separate key frequency band to support 5G, including 700 megahertz, 2.3 gigahertz, 3.5 gigahertz, and 26 gigahertz. The 700 gigahertz derived from analog broadcast holds significant potential for rural, remote, and underserved coverage. Yet its use remains limited and is not specifically targeted toward underserved area or local operator. The 2.3 gigahertz band is already in use by a major operator for commercial 5G, while 3.5 gigahertz and 26 gigahertz band are still undergoing limited trials, mainly in the urban centers. In contrast, countries like Brazil, Finland, Canada have utilized alternative bands such as TV white space and VHF to support rural, remote, and underserved connectivity with lower infrastructure costs. A national program like Bhakti and Palaparing's project have strengthened backbone infrastructure to support village digitalization. However, this initiative are not fully aligned with spectrum policy. Commercial 5G rollout in Indonesia remains concentrated in major cities, relying on exclusive licensing and high spectrum utilization high spectrum utilization fee, which limit participation by smaller or community-based operator. While Bakri support remote and underserved region, there is no spectrum specifically allocated or incentivized for rural, remote, and underserved focus area. Compared to global practice, Indonesia lacks in providing areal-based access, flexible pricing, and open licensing models. Countries like India, Nigeria use region-based pricing scheme, and nations such UK, Germany, UK and Germany issue local licensing for smaller entities is happen in this country. Indonesia national control spectrum management does not allow does not allow legal entry for local operator or share access models like license share access and citizen broadband radio service atau CBRS. To close this policy gap, Indonesia requires more flexible and pro-rural remote and underserved spectrum framework, one that includes dedicated spectrum for remote areas, adaptive SUV pricing, and open access regulation to encourage innovation and multi-stakeholder collaboration, aligning national policy with proper global strategies will be essential to bridging the digital divide sustainability. Next, the analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, in addressing the research question number one, we examine which global strategies have proven effective for extending 5G deployment in remote and underserved regions. First, the low band spectrum, 700 to 900 megahertz, has been widely adopted because its ability to provide broad coverage at, at relatively low cost. This is particular critical for rural and sparsely populated area. Second is the mid frequency. Yeah. The mid frequency 3.3 to 3.8 gigahertz are globally recognized as the sweet spot for balancing coverage and capacity. When combined with massive MIMO technology, they significantly improve both efficiency and user experience. The third is the dynamic spectrum access DSA. Has been utilized in regions with lower traffic intensity. This allows spectrum in this idle in certain location to be reused dynamically, increasingly effective, and increasingly efficient. Increasing efficiency. And the fourth, many countries has explored LSA and TPWS, which support community-based and cost-effective deployment, especially for school, health facility, and small enterprise. And finally, hybrid approach such as combining spectrum refarming, spectrum sharing, and target subsidies are critical to ensure not only initial development but also long-term sustainability. In summary, the global strategies, so there are no single solutions. Instead, a mixed technical and regulatory approach has proven most effective in serving remote communities. And then the analysis for research question number two, about how do Indonesia practice compare with best practices. Currently, Indonesia released on 4 main spectrum, itu 700, 4 main spectrum for 5G, 700 megahertz, 2.3 gigahertz, 3.5 gigahertz, and 26 gigahertz. However, the policy framework is still dominated by exclusive national licensing and uniform pricing model, which often do not reflect the unique challenge of rural underserved area. As a result, specific spectrum allocation for rural coverage are lacking, and this creates a digital divide between urban and remote communities. By contrast, global best practices offer more flexible solutions. For example, UK and Germany apply local licensing scheme to empower regional operators. India and Nigeria implement region-based spectrum pricing to reduce barrier and rural development. The countries such as Brazil and Finland experiment with TV white space to enable community network. From this comparison, it's become clear that Indonesia will benefit from adopting a more flexible rural-oriented spectrum management framework, which could include local licensing, differentiated pricing, and public and private collaboration. This will help ensure that 5G is not limited to urban area, but truly contribute to digital inclusion nationwide. Therefore, aligning Indonesian spectrum strategies with this global best practice will be a key step towards bridging the digital divide in remote and underserved regions. Next, the conclusion. The conclusion, in Indonesia 5G spectrum policy remains too urban focus and too rigid. By learning from global best practice, such as those in the UK, Brazil, Finland, India, and other countries, we can design a more flexible and inclusive approach. A hybrid spectrum strategy supported by policy reform and infrastructure program like Bhakti can bridge the connectivity gap and bridging the equitable 5G access to all Indonesians, including those in the most remote area. The acknowledgement before I close, I would like to express the deepest gratitude to the Lembaga Pengelolaan Dana Pendidikan or LPDP, the Indonesian Endowment Fund for Education, for the generous support in funding both my doctoral studies. I also want to say thank you to my doctoral advisor, Professor Dr. Muhammad Surya Negara, STMSC, and also my college, my research collaborator, Dr. Alfie Himatarorban, STMC. Here is the reference of these studies, of this paper. The reference from the many publication, from the research database, high reputation database such as Scopus or IEEE. The total is about 42 reference. Okay, thank you for your attention. I look forward to your question, feedback, and discussion on how we can collectively advance inclusive 5G development in Indonesia and beyond. Okay, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.